All right, so let's get going. Um, I'd like to say welcome to everyone. Um, Welcome to I'll Make Me a World, creating spaces for an underrepresented workforce. I'm Jerusha Graham, the museum coordinator for the Robert C. Williams Museum of Papermaking, located on the campus of the Georgia Institute of Technology. Uh, Tonight, we will be hearing from Steff Farrar and Bobby Pontillas. Sorry
Mhm.
about that.
No worries.
Um, uh, as the first event for Fast Film Fest. But before I introduce them, I'd just like to tell you guys a little bit about Fast Film Fest. Fast Film Fest is sponsored by the Robert C. Williams Museum of Papermaking in partnership with Georgia Tech Library and ASIFA South. And it's a stop motion festival that's open to all ages and skill levels. We plan talks and workshops in January and February with a screening of juror um, submissions in the first week of March. And there's just a couple things that participants have to keep in mind. So it has to be original animated films, um, 5 seconds to 5 minutes long, made with paper being the primary material or focus. It's free for participants. All of the programming in January and February, as well as the screening, is free. And the films get screened on March 4th and will be shared with the world. So our theme for 2022 is press start. And just to give you an example, this is a short video that was created by a student who just learned how to do stop motion animation. And then just a quick peek at some of the other events that we have. So tonight we're starting off with I'll Make Me a World. Next week on Wednesday, I'll be doing a workshop on performance with 3D objects for stop motion. And Thursday, on Thursday, Allison Volk will be teaching some basics for iMovie. And then the following week, we'll have Vinod Krishnan speaking about his career in animation. And then we have George from the industry. So Cassandra Bruton Johnson with the CIFA South, Jaleesa Leva, who's the creator of Jelly Bin and Pogo for PBS Kids, and Jason Schwartz, who's the animation director at Bento Box Atlanta. So let's get to the meat of tonight's presentation. I'm going to introduce both speakers and then turn it over to Steff. I do encourage participants to type in the Q&A, and we will pose those questions after both speakers have presented. Steff Farrar is the Director of Vocational Initiatives for Exceptional Minds, a nonprofit focused on building a future where neurodiverse perspectives advance an inclusive hiring culture in the entertainment industry. Farrar began her career in the film industry in Eastern Canada after winning a National Apprenticeship for Film and Television Award. She became a pioneer in the earliest years of animation in Nova Scotia, where she owned and operated a small boutique studio and was showcased in Maclean's magazine as one of Canada's top 100 young entrepreneurs. Steff recognizes that embracing the journey is the key to following dreams. With over 25 years of experience in the industry, she has enjoyed working in a variety of artistic, management, and instructor roles. none more rewarding to her as working in education. Steff is passionate about animation and is dedicated to helping students find enjoyable and successful journeys of their own to pursue in this exciting field. So Bobby Pontillas, the co-founder of Rise Up Animation, as well as development for Disney Channel and Disney Plus. He's a Filipino American director and artist who has worked in the animation and games industry as an animator, character designer, art director, and director for such studios as Disney, Takeo Blue Sky, ArenaNet, and more. He is an Academy Award nominated director for the animated short film One Small Step, and Bobby is currently developing animated projects for the Disney Channel and Disney Plus. So I will stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you, Steff.
Well, thank you so much, Jerusha, and thanks for having me speak at this important event, and thank you for all who are attending. As Jerusha said, my name is Steff Farrar. I am the Director of Vocational Initiatives at Exceptional Minds. So my title is kind of a fancy way of saying that I work primarily with our third-year students and graduates to help them find their jobs in the industry. I'll just get started here. The presentation topics I'm going to go over today are just like the burning questions on what Exceptional Minds is about, and especially towards the end, how we help create spaces for underrepresented groups in the animation and VFX industry. So I'm just going to start by telling you that Exceptional Minds is a nonprofit organization committed to preparing young adults on the autism spectrum for careers in animation, visual effects, 3D gaming, and other related fields. And I'm just going to show this very quick video.
Nobody ever asks a kid with autism, what is it you really like to do? At this school, we ask, what is your goal? What is your dream?
We couldn't ask for a better team member. Everyone needs a little bit of help. And I have a studio full of artists. They're storytellers, they're dreamers. Does it take a little hand-holding? Yes. Does it take a commitment that we will not stop until this succeeds? Yes. But that's how we make movies.
I used to work as a stock clerk who would just go through the aisles and organize things.
People are saying, you're autistic, you can't work here. It's like, no, this place shows me I can.
Even though I have autism, you can still follow your dream no matter how hard life gets. And that's how I'm going to get through this.
So that's a little clip on us that I like to show. So what we do, hold on one sec. All right, so what we do, we are primarily a 3-year full-time post-secondary academy teaching students the technical, artistic, and vocational skills they need for competitive and gainful employment in this industry. We also offer part-time workshops all year round that expose students to a variety of programs and skills related to animation and visual effects. We have 2 professional studios. We have a 2D animation studio and a VFX 3D animation and gaming studio. These are studios that are set up as part of it's like an extension of our academy. And they're professional studios that take on real work, and it's a place where our graduates can go apply for jobs there to get their first industry job, and it helps them get that first year or 2 of experience that they might need before applying for other jobs outside in the industry. So it's definitely a place where some of our graduates can get started. And then lastly, we offer all kinds of postgraduate support and programming. So it never really ends at graduation. We still have lots of support that we offer our graduates after that. So when does it happen? Just to cover all of the basis of Exceptional Minds, and this is also in case there's anyone out there interested in our program, we are currently starting our full-time assessments for the 2022 academic year starting this September. And as I mentioned earlier, our part-time programs are offered all year round. So we have 2 fall sessions 2 winter sessions, 1 spring session, and then we offer extensive summer programming as well. And that's offered to students mostly from 16 and up for those part-time workshops. In a lot of cases, that's where our students in our full-time academy get started, is by taking our part-time programming first. So next is, where are we located? Well, I'm really excited to tell you that we are located in this beautiful new building, new to us building in Sherman Oaks. We just moved over the holidays. We're planning on expanding in the next 5 years, so this is a new space for us to move in. We're really excited. We're still kind of getting set up in there, but it's a really cool location in Sherman Oaks. Why do we exist? So now we're getting to some more interesting things. We exist because we understand that individuals on the autism spectrum are incredibly talented and creative artists and technicians who need to learn in different environments than others. We are also here because, just like all underrepresented groups, we need to educate the industry and create awareness for these groups to help ensure that they have spaces to work in. That said, it is not enough to just set aside spots for underrepresented individuals. We encourage employers to help to set up our graduates for success by hiring them based on their skills and potential rather than just their underrepresented label. And that's really important to us. So, sorry, one second. How we do it. I've got a couple of sets of slides to know what I'm saying here. So one of the things we do, how we do it to help create spaces for underrepresented groups in this industry is we teach differently. So at our school, we have a very small and intimate class sizes. So it's 5 students to 1 instructor is the ratio at our school. And this enables instructors to take the time to make sure that every student is learning in a way that works for them. Some students are more visual than others, and some learn better when they write things down or watch instructors do a task before they try their hand at it. So really not much different than anyone else. Some things that are different is that we allow students to work at their own pace. So while we make sure that they're able to learn what's expected of them by the time they graduate, we do allow some students to take any extra time they might need to develop their skills, or we might allow students to move through our program faster if they pick things up more quickly. The reason for this is sometimes our students might take longer than others to learn things, so instead of failing them at things, we ask them what they need to be able to help them catch up. So if it just means that they need a bit more time working on certain skills, then we just take that extra time with them to do that. This is something that a lot of other colleges don't do. Sorry, and it sets us apart from others. Another thing that sets us apart is the emphasis that we put on vocational studies every year to help prepare students for employment. So we work with them on things like professional demeanor, professional dress, conflict resolution, self-management, problem solving. We help them build resumes and cover letters. We also help them across all 3 years through mock interviews, which is kind of a fun exercise that we do. Interviews are really scary and nerve-wracking for anyone, but especially our population and our student base has a hard time with anxiety issues. So we make sure that we have fun and put them through the ringers of mock interviews so that they know how to talk about their strengths, talk about their challenges, work through any tough interview questions that they might get. So we do this and we really work with them across all 3 years so that they're really prepared for their first industry job. We also work, in their 3rd year, they work a lot on their portfolios and their resumes to make sure that they have what they need for that first job. Additionally, we offer opportunities to get real industry experience with our animation and VFX studios in-house. And then finally, we offer employment education to the industry to help encourage and build diversity. So we teach them being the industry or industry partners, about how to work with our students, and we offer best practices for interviewing and onboarding our students. We also maintain strong relationships and partner with the industry to create interactive programs with students and graduates. So this picture on the screen, this Foundations program, is a program that I worked with Netflix. This was a huge mentorship program that was 4.5 months. It's just finishing right now, actually. It started in August, the end of August, and it's just finished now. This was an amazing Foundations program, and I think it was their first one. They worked with exceptional minds as well as Latinx and animation. And they took 36 of our students and graduates and paired them up with Latinx participants and Netflix employees. So they were working in a variety of disciplines, so creative writing or a variety of art groups and some animation groups or design groups. And some of them worked one-on-one with mentors, and some other ones worked in mentorship groups. But it was an incredible experience for our students to be able to talk to industry people, so people that are outside the school, and they can really ask questions about their own career path. And I think they worked on projects. I'm still learning about all the things that transpired in that incredible program, but this is one of the things that we do to plug into the industry and stay connected as much as possible. And I'm looking forward to developing more mentorship programs like this with other industry partners. How to be supportive. This is just a slide on what some supports look like. This is things that we talk to the industry about. I have a whole other presentation that I use to talk to the industry for employer education, so they understand how to work with our students. But some of the things we go over with them are things like flexible work hours, offering a variety of training methods, maybe offering different job tasks. So whatever our graduate can do, that they're offering them tasks based on things that they're really good at. Making people feel valued. We also encourage them to give them options to work from home or a quieter space and or a space with different lighting. These are things that can be difficult for some of our students and graduates. Allowing breaks and walks outside, and then also offering a library or fact versus fiction resources in their HR department. This is another thing that's really important, so that way anyone working in a department or a company can review some of this HR library material to find out what it's like to work with a variety of underrepresented groups. So it's really important that HR departments have libraries that can inform people and educate people across the board. Also, having or being a safe person to talk to is also really important. And what this looks like is someone who is an ally, someone who is easy to approach, someone who's friendly and respectful to others, both at work and outside of work, and then someone who's also genuinely interested and invested in getting to know others. So that might be somebody who you are, which would be great, whoever you are. These are the kinds of things that we would call a safe person, and they're very much needed. Or maybe this is someone you need. Whether you are this person or you need this person, this is what we look for. So I'm not sure how I am for time, but I'll show, I have a quick 3-minute video just to show some of our other work that is done in our studios, to show the work that our graduates are doing in our studios, and then I'll wrap up. So I'll just play this really quickly.
The moment I heard about Exceptional Minds, it was like a switch flipped, and I was able to create. I was able to create and was encouraged to create.
Now sit back, relax. Huh? What is all this about? All you silly souls, release your shoes. It's okay to laugh, I'm a laughing fool. You better be one too. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh.
that's my presentation. Just to let you know that that video was done, as I said, in our Exceptional Minds studios. So everything that you saw there was done by our graduates. So this is a place where they would go do some of that work to get that experience under their belt before they're ready for their first-time industry jobs. So thank you very much for taking your time to listen to me, and I'll pass it back over to Jerusha.
Thank you. It's exciting to get to see some of the behind the scenes, some of the movie magic that you don't normally get to see. I'm going to have Bobby go ahead and cue up his screen.
Yeah.
And then
Hello.
after you finish presenting, we'll do questions.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, it's a bummer I can't see your faces as if I start screen sharing. But Steff, incredible. I mean, man, that's just so inspiring. And yeah, and you guys are doing like great work. So congratulations, and what an honor to be a part of this panel with you. But hello, everyone. Thanks for coming again, like Steff said and Jerusha said. My name is Bobby Pontillas. I am a co-founder of Rise Up Animation. And beyond this organization, I've been in the animation industry, like Jerusha said earlier, for a bit, doing a little bit of everything. I'm currently developing a show at Disney now. And that's where I met the co-founder. I'll just kind of get into it. So Rise Up Animation is an organization that's pretty new. It was formed when we were all in quarantine in June 2020, actually, to be specific. We're all in quarantine. We're all kind of new to it. And then at the same time, what was happening was all that kind of like social injustice and all of that kind of stuff of just kind of everything that was going down, and it's still going down, but that was making like headlines and news waves and all that kind of stuff back then. So just to start it off, what Rise Up Animation is, it's an organization that provides resources to Black, Indigenous, people of color, talent in the animation industry, and also kind of aspiring to get into the animation industry. So we try to provide resources for you to connect with animation artists in Hollywood, in LA, in New York, and wherever we are. So we know that it's not always easy to find animation professionals to talk to, but we had that, we found out that we had that network and those resources, and we wanted to provide it to people that don't necessarily have those resources, especially people of color. So these are the founders, Monica Ligo-Cadis, who Steff knows, Frank Abney, me, myself, Trent Corey. We all met a long time ago at Disney Feature Animation back in the day. I think it was like Wreck-It Ralph or something like that. And then eventually people kind of go their separate ways. Frank went off to DreamWorks and then Pixar, and then Monica started her own studio, and Trent stayed at Disney. I went in a different direction as well. But, in June 2020, with all of the social unrest that was going on, and all the kind of messed up things that were happening, and all of the kind of turmoil that were happening, I remember kind of feeling in quarantine just kind of a little bit hopeless. A lot of us were just kind of like, okay, let's do our due diligence. Let's watch the things that we can watch. Let's educate ourselves. Let's donate where we can. But I remember Trent Corey texting me one day and going, "There's got to be something that we can do for for our industry, our animation industry, the art industry, and beyond all this kind of stuff, just because we kind of felt helpless." We remember what it was like before the quarantine times, where, I don't know if you guys, there's a lot of animation conventions, comic book conventions, where essentially up-and-coming budding artists can kind of meet with professional artists and get their portfolio reviewed, looked at, get some feedback, get some thoughts, and all that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff was gone in quarantine, and everyone was at home, and so we were just kind of thinking, is there some way that we can kind of bridge that gap a little bit? And we're all at home now. How can we provide value to people that everyone's kind of stuck at home, but how can we provide value specifically for people of color? Because this is like Hollywood is at a time where it's just kind of like, no offense to like anyone that's watching, but like it's at a time where the majority of the stories are being told by like, you know, a specific type of person, you know, just kind of like, you know, your you know, like an older generation, like white male, right? And nothing wrong with that. And, you know, they invented this industry, but I think it's been a little bit trickier for people of color and underrepresented voices, females, to break in because, you know, that wasn't necessarily, maybe they don't have the education means, or they don't have the resources, or it's just not there for them, right? So having said this, we're like, well, what if we kind of, in the absence of people seeing each other, what if we kind of pool our resources of everyone we know in the industry, of like every studio, because we worked at Disney, we know people at DreamWorks, Pixar, Disney, Sony, whoever else, like every studio, big or small, out there. And what if we sort of begin to offer that again, like that one-on-one meeting with, you know, BIPOC certainly, but you know, someone from another corner of the world, whether they're in like Egypt, Africa, South America, and all that kind of stuff, and we offer them that experience of like, we can meet with you. If you're an animator, we can review your demo reel. If you're a biz dev artist, we can look at your portfolio. Story artist, we can look at your portfolio. If you want to get into production, we have production mentors that can talk to you and kind of like close the gap a little bit between like Hollywood and LA and wherever you are in the world, because sometimes it could seem so far away. So these are a few of our mentors, and they come from every studio, like Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks, like I say. And this is kind of in the quarantine space. This has replaced that kind of in-person portfolio review thing, like in the conventions and animation convention and comic conventions. It's just kind of one-on-one feedback sessions of like, you know, anyone can sign up. They'll get assigned a mentor in that specific discipline that they signed up for. And we meet with them for like anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour. I've had sessions that's gone on for like 3 hours. And, you know, it's not like a class or mentorship per se, but it's just kind of meeting with somebody in the industry, in your discipline that you want to know more about, that you want to get feedback on your work, for that, like, half hour to, a couple hours, time a day. And then after that, you can sign up again if you want to. We encourage people to sign up again if they want to get a different mentor, and it's helpful to get like different opinions on, their work and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like our bread and butter, these kind of like feedback sessions. And then additionally, we do these like panels, these Zoom panels like we're doing now. And then the aim of those panels is just to kind of put that expertise and information out there for people that that don't necessarily have access to these kinds of professional artists, right? We have panels that are kind of like talking about the discipline and kind of like what it takes to get into this discipline, like effects animation, 2D animation, 3D animation, character design, story artists, but also a lot of it is just kind of like talking about representation, and like storytelling, and talking about someone's journey from Guadalajara, how they came from Guadalajara and then made it out here in LA, what their journey was, because a lot of, students, or a lot of people kind of feel like, they come from, other, around the world, and they don't feel like they can be a part of this industry because they don't feel like connected to it. But there's a lot of stories about people like working from that corner of the world, or coming to LA, or coming to the States, or going to Europe, or anything like that. So just kind of sharing those stories, because it kind of helps make it not feel so impossible. So we've had many of these panels, and they're all wonderful, and they're all on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check this out on our YouTube link, all you have to do, I mean, you don't even have to memorize this. Like, I don't even know I put this there, but all you have to go is YouTube, Rise Up Animation. There's like hundreds of panels that we've done, and they go from everything to like visas, writing in animation, internships, Black American voices in animation, Latinx voices in animation, people coming from India, all that kind of stuff. We try to kind of like put that information out there for free, so you can attend the webinar, or you can just watch it later on at your own leisure. So that's all kind of out there. And then so our mentees have it's not because of us that we got them their jobs, but like once they come into a community, I feel like, where they kind of feel like they're supported, and there's all these resources at their disposal, and all these panels and all these feedback sessions at their disposal. Eventually, if they have that drive, like there are a lot of mentees that kind of come through and just kind of like, yeah, okay, this, and this, okay, I get it now, this is what I need to do. Eventually, they kind of break into the industry, which is huge for them. So this is, we put out a call of just kind of like mentee like photos and all that kind of stuff. So this is on our main website. Just kind of like, it's like, it's kind of like people from around the world. It's from all walks of life, young and old, professional, or just starting out, getting into art. Maybe don't know necessarily what they want to do yet, but these are all like people from around the world that kind of signed up to meet with like industry professional artists that are working in the industry. Just to have a real talk, one-on-one, of what they can do to improve, or what they can do to focus themselves on what career they want to do within animation, or even if an artistic path is for them. I mean, like there's a lot of people that just kind of decide production sounds more my jam, or like editing, or more marketing, all that kind of stuff. So we have mentors from every studio, kind of there to help them, guide them, on that path. So where do I sign up for a free feedback session? So right now, our main kind of social hub is on our Instagram. So we're at Rise Up Animation, and if you click on that link tree, it'll bring you up to a form where you can sign up for any discipline that you'd like. And by any discipline, I mean any discipline, like music, obviously kind of art stuff, production, and all that kind of stuff. But, and it, I mean, like in closing, it's like, it's a nonprofit, and no one gets paid. It's kind of a testament to the people in our industry that want to help, like up and coming artists, especially underrepresented voices, kind of like break into the industry. And they want to kind of, they kind of want to foster that, diverse and inclusive workspace. So, like I say, it's out of the kindness of everyone's heart to just kind of meet with people, to just kind of guide them, point them in some sort of direction, in a way that kind of feels like, you could do it too. Because I feel like, especially if you're kind of halfway around the world, we talked about it before, but it can kind of feel like impossible. but people have done it. People have done it. And if that is your dream, if your dream is to work in animation, whether it's abroad or, in California or in the States, then it's a very achievable, possible goal. It's not going to be easy, but yeah, that's what we're kind of there for, to just kind of provide in these kind of like uncertain, kind of like times of like, we don't know what's going to happen, when people are going to see each other again, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of layers to it, but that's what we're there for. So I think that's
Awesome.
it. Yeah, good, Jerusha.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So we have a question in the Q&A from Sterling. He asks, what is your favorite part of your job?
You go ahead, Steff, first.
Oh, it's so hard to narrow down one favorite part. I literally love everything about my job. But I guess the thing that really gets me excited is being able to find job placements for the grads. So when I've got industry calling me saying, hey, we're looking for someone with these qualifications, who do you have? Then I have these spreadsheets with these graduates. I have a list of their interests, a list of their software skills and things to help find whether they fit what they're looking for, and then being able to put them in touch with the industry person and have them get a job out of it. So those are huge wins. It's really what I'm my main objective is to try to find all our grads jobs. So the journey, like even just the process of trying to find them jobs, is already exciting enough. But when they do land a job, that's what I love most about my job, for sure.
Yeah. Same thing for me, to Steff's point of just kind of like meeting with somebody and then just kind of like helping them kind of get to, their goals. And, you'll meet with somebody, and then probably same for you, Steff, of like, you meet somebody and like, like 6 months from now, you find that they got this job or that job, and you're like, oh my God, and you're so proud of them. It's almost like a parental thing. And it's like, wow, you're so proud of them. And I think if I'm hearing right, like the thing that Steff and I have in common the most is just kind of like helping aspiring, like artists, or like, people that want to be in animation or the arts, kind of like get there. And then that's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying feeling, wouldn't you say, Steff?
Yeah, absolutely. I love getting to know each one as individuals, because they all have slightly different dreams, different directions, things they're good at, things they love that they might not be really great at, but just being able to help them find their way. Because there's so many opportunities out there. There's something for everyone out there. And there's also so many related jobs and transferable skills. So if you're following animation, I went to school for animation, 3 years for hand-drawn classical animation, but then I was able to get film industry jobs because I knew storyboarding, because I knew a production pipeline. So, even though it was live action, I was on set with a green screen and things like that. It was just, there was so many transferable skills and relatable departments and things like that. So it's really neat. There's really anywhere you can go in this industry, and there's so many opportunities. So helping them narrow it down or finding their direction is really, I just love that process.
That's a really good point, Steff, that you brought up too, because like I feel like there's like us, that have been doing it for a while, we have like an obligation to kind of pay it forward, and just kind of help people, like bring them up. And then also, I kind of feel like right when you said that, I was like, you don't have to wait until you're in the industry to help people, like bring them up, like together. You know what I mean? Like right. Like it's like, even now as students, or if there's any students watching this, I mean, like, help bring each other up. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like surround yourself with like-minded, ambitious, like high-achieving people, and help bring each other up. And doesn't have to start later when you're a veteran. You can start doing that now and have that sort of mentality of just kind of like helping people, like kind of like come up. I feel like, and it's definitely in Steph's wheelhouse, and it's always kind of been an ambition of mine too. It's just kind of like, I'm not going to go up like on my own. Like, I'd rather bring people up with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm starting to do that now. Even as a student, I will say, I remember feeling that way. Yeah.
So Lynn asks, what are the difficulties that you face in your job, and how do you manage it and solve those difficulties?
Go ahead, Steph.
I have to go first on this one too. Difficulties.
You have it's you're the first in all of them.
Well, there's always challenges, right? Especially when we have a 3-year program, so we teach animation, but there's no way to possibly teach everything there is to know in animation. So some of the difficulties is just making sure that we can find those entry-level jobs. So I spend a lot of time talking to industry partners, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, DreamWorks, all of these different partners, to have them come in and do presentations about what they're looking for in those entry-level jobs, so that our students and grads have a few things that they can focus on, or they can work on for those entry-level skills. And sometimes when you work for the big, those big companies, those big name players, oftentimes you might want to get started in production, or get started in a place where it isn't your dream job, but it's something you have to, by getting a production job, that's the same as getting your foot in the door. And once your foot is in the door in a big company like that, then you're kind of first in line for those art jobs that come through. So one thing that's challenging is talking to my students and grads about that as a fact. And even though it might not be a key animation job necessarily, start in production and work your way up, because it's so important. When you work in production, you get to work across multiple departments, and really learn about the pipeline, and really learn about the supervisors and get to know them, and you're sort of become part of the family, and you're one of them. So when those creative art jobs come along, then you'll be the first to get in there. So it's just trying to convince students of that can be challenging sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I experienced that so much that, I'm just kind of like, it's a really competitive field. So, and you don't want to make any bones about that. You don't want to kind of sugarcoat it or anything. You just kind of be like, yeah, it's really, really competitive. And, there's certain jobs, like for character designer, for instance. I mean, a lot of people want to be character designers, and rightfully so. I mean, who doesn't like drawing characters? But, you're just kind of like, okay, well, depending on the person's skill level, you're just kind of like, well, maybe while you're working on this aspect of your skill set, like, it doesn't hurt to get in as a production position. And there's a lot of studios like Nickelodeon that are totally supportive of you making the transition however you want your career to kind of lean, you know what I mean? And they're down to listen to that, which is wonderful. That's what I love about Nickelodeon. They're like, right, yeah. I would say on like a more specific thing, I think like a lot of like portfolio reviews that I see, or portfolios that I see that I'm reviewing, is like I always kind of ask, and like we say, like, Steph, you're probably the same way. You see a lot of portfolios from people around the world, right? And a lot of different cultures. And you look at their portfolio, and you're just kind of like, okay. And they're a little bit hesitant to kind of tell their own stories. They're more reticent to. They're more likely to kind of put stuff in their portfolio that has been done before, like maybe something that looks like Frozen, or something that looks like Disney, that kind of stuff.
Art. There's a lot of fan art, right?
A lot of fan art and all that kind of stuff. But like, I mean, Steph and Jerusha, I'm always encouraging people of just kind of like, because they're trying to find a way to stand out. I always tell them, you're from Brazil? What are those Brazil folk lore like? What is your family like? What are these kind of folk tales like? What are these legends like? Why isn't this in your portfolio? You need to get this in your portfolio to show who you are, where you come from, celebrate that, and celebrate the diversity of that. And a lot of times it's challenging because they've never seen that before. They're not used to seeing it, in portfolios or in movies and all that kind of stuff. And so the thing that we could do is just kind of encourage wherever you are, your part of the world, is just to tell those specific stories that are unique to your culture, unique to your family, and represent, man. Represent, even if it's, it's your portfolio, but you should do that now. Get into the mindset of telling those stories now, so you can be known as this kind of person that represents who you are, where you're from, and people know who you are. And when you get into the industry, you can potentially make a show or a movie or anything like that that's based off of that stuff that you're known for. And so, cultivate that kind of looking inward and just kind of recognizing that, your stories are rad and your stories are meaningful and important and all that kind of stuff. Even if you haven't seen it out there yet, tell your stories. Personal stories, cultural stories, familial stories, all that kind of stuff. So
That's great advice, because there's what makes you stand out from everyone else is that you are the only you. So who is that? Show us that. That's what people want to know. Yeah, that's how you are going to stand out, by being your original, genuine self. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And it'll mean more to you. You know what I mean? It'll mean more to you. It'll mean more to when you show your mom. Like, hey mom, look, you're a character in this, this portfolio bit or, mock show that I made. You'll see it in the work, right, Steph? If it means something to someone, you'll see it in the work, right? You'll see the difference versus a technical exercise, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to be hired because of your being genuine? So when they hire you, they're actually hiring you for you and your quirks, and that you're not perfect, you don't look like the other ones, and that your work is your own and it's genuine and it's real. And so it's that much better when they hire you because you're you.
100%. That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So, in Steph's bio, it mentioned that you did an apprenticeship. Bobby, how did you Rise Up is a kind of point of connection to help people connect with the industry. How did that come about for you?
Just cold emailing people, because I didn't have a lot of connections. I was up in Seattle and I wanted to be down in LA, and I would just cold email people on LinkedIn or blogs or anything like that. And I didn't have any really big connection. I just kind of made connections through emailing people. And then also I took this online course called Animation Mentor that hooked me up with a lot of industry professionals down here. So to that point, taking online classes might be a good idea for people to meet people outside of their city, which helped for me as well. I was in Seattle, like I say. Everyone's down here in LA, but when I started to take classes, start to meet people. Start to meet people from here and there, and you form this online community. So it was kind of ground up for me to make connections. It wasn't, it was just kind of grassroots effort. I just kind of trying to meet people online, that kind of stuff.
I just added you on LinkedIn right now, Bobby.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think for you, Steph? What for someone that feels like they know nobody, to start to make these connections
When they know nobody, one thing that I would suggest is trying to find a group that you fit into, like Rise Up, but they're like Women in Animation, which is for women and men. It's for anyone, but just different groups that are out there that are those are those are easy places to go to, right? You're an easy place to go to. Women in Animation is an easy place to go to. All of these other groups that we mentioned, there is a place where you can go to at least start talking, and you can be, we know artists very well. We are artists. We are shy and we're nervous and we're scared to show our work and we're scared to be anyone. But these are the places you can go to feel safe, for sure. These are people that are just like you, who are ready to see past all that and say, hey, this is what you can do, and to help get you started. But to first make those connections, I would suggest those groups like ours, like all of ours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And those kinds of groups, like Rise Up Animation and Women in Animation, especially, like the people that are there that are running it are industry professionals. So, like, what better way to kind of meet somebody, in the industry? I would have, when I was coming up, I would have killed for that opportunity. You know what I mean? But the opportunity, like Steff said, the opportunity's there.
Right.
Get into those circles, Yeah, that's a great point, Steff.
Yeah, there's groups on Instagram, there's groups on Facebook, there's Storyboard Brawlers on Facebook that I have joined just to see what people are doing. And there's something for anything that you're into. They're all out there. And I would say go to festivals, but with COVID, it's a little bit tougher. When I went to CPNX a couple of years ago, that's how I learned about Exceptional Minds, because I came here from Canada. I wanted to plug into LA thinking, oh, LA is too big for me. I'm not going to find a place for me in LA. And then I learned about Exceptional Minds at that festival, and that's how I plugged in, because I kept bugging them until they gave me a job. So.
A quick question, because both of you mentioned the festivals and conventions. Do you obviously it's a different world now with COVID, but do you find that, or I guess I need to ask because I've never been to one. Was there high monetary cost to participate in those, and did you find that that structure actually blocked a lot of people from connecting because of the financial investment up front?
I could see that. When we are on the festival circuit, for One Small Step, you had to pay to enter your film, to every festival. Some were massive, some were like $5, but I'm assuming if someone is trying to enter their film, they're trying to get it as many places as they can. So it's not going to be just one film festival. It's going to be hopefully 50, and that's a lot of money. So yeah, I think so. I mean, but I think it's different now. I kind of think the exclusivity of it's just my opinion. The exclusivity of film festivals and all that kind of stuff. If you want to get your short seen, I mean, we were kind of well, screw it. I mean, we wanted to get out to as many people out there as we can out there. I think we did the festival circuit just so we can qualify for the Oscars. But beyond that, if your goal is to kind of get it to as a big audience as you want, put it out there. And it's just different now. I mean, as far as exposure goes, I feel I would say do the film festival circuit run, and that's a season. What is that, 6 months or something like that? And then at the end of the run, film festival run, then just kind of put it out there, why not? I don't know. To answer your question, I don't even know. With the question is does the financial burden stifle a lot of filmmakers? Yeah, absolutely, because it's expensive. I think. What do you think, Steff?
Yeah, it can be expensive, that festival circuit. I mean, it's worth it, but there are other free places. Like I said, Instagram, Facebook, there are podcasts, there are all kinds of different places and venues now. I'm not even plugged into all of them, but they're out there. Your people are out there. You just have to look for them. And I think I think the younger generations, high school students, know more and more about all of the social media platforms. But just type in your interest in a social media platform, and you'll find your people.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
It is 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna have to do our farewells. Just talking about those resources. So CIFA South is our partner on Fast Film Fest, and there's lots of resources on their website and Facebook. If you're just getting started with Fast Film Fest, a lot of our participants, it's their first time trying their hands, at least at stop motion. And so there's on the Paper Animation Film Fest YouTube channel, there's free resources, tutorials, and clips for inspiration. If you're thinking you want to do a submission, submissions are due February 18th, and we'll do the watch party on March 4th. If you liked this free programming and want to support the Paper Museum, we're not opposed to donations. And then if you want to, again, connect with Exceptional Minds or Rise Up Animation, as you guys mentioned, there's YouTube and Instagram, and I found you guys through your websites. So I posted those websites up here, exceptional-minds.org, riseupanimation.org. And I just want to say thank you, Steff and Bobby, for you generously giving your time and expertise to share with us. This has been recorded, and so we will be posting this up on the Paper Museum website, paper.gatech.edu, and also on the Paper Animation YouTube channel.
That's great. Thank you so much for having us, Jerusha. It was really great to be here.
Oh, thank you. So, I just want to let you guys know, comments in our Q&A, amazing. Thank you for this, for encouraging us to celebrate ourselves and reminding us how important it is to tell our own stories. I remember watching One Small Step and loving it. Thank you both for your work and the opportunities you guys are providing. So
that's great. Thank you so much.